Hope you're enjoying the music right now on Gold FM. Only the classic hits, especially if you're spending your time at home or around the office. I certainly hope you're taking it easy and enjoying the music coming your way. Well, I got a whole lot more to keep you moving and to keep you going right up until you reach lock-off time. I'm Kara. Join me every weekday from 2 to 7 on The Ride, only on Gold FM.
I wake up in the morning, I prefer to go down to the gym, get a bit of physical work done. Also, later on in the day, I decide to go through for meditation. I do a bit of reading to find out what the latest songs are, a bit of research. And for me, it's all about the listeners.
Hey, what's up? I'm Rio, and this is the Traffic Jam every weekday from 3 o'clock to 7, only on Today FM. Today is hit music. What's up?
In the news tonight, casino developers pay fine and wants to renegotiate the penalty clause of their license with government. Another Chinese national detained for not declaring foreign currency. And Lautoka celebrates Fiji Day with preparations underway in Suva. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and you're watching FBC News. 100 Sands Limited, the developers of Fiji's first casino project, has paid a fine of $185,000 to the government yesterday. That was for not having started constructing the project by October 1st. But the owners are now trying to negotiate on the penalty clause in their contract as they struggle to get the casino development underway. Christopher Chand reports.
Last week, the Attorney General Ayah Sayed Qayyum warned 100 Sands Limited that they will not hesitate to cancel their 15-year exclusive casino license. On Friday, Larry Clonch flew into the country following the ultimatum issued by the government. Yesterday, he paid the fine of $185,000, equivalent to 100,000 US dollars, at the AG's office with a letter stating that he will be responding to their questions about the development. Larry Clonch was not available for an on-camera interview today, but stated that they hope to negotiate a new deal regarding the penalty clause. Clonch says he will reveal why they want to bargain on the penalty clause in a detailed report to the Attorney General in a few days' time. He says the report will also have the date they will start construction, which has been delayed for more than a year now. Clonch stated paying the fine yesterday is evidence enough of their commitment to develop the $290 million casino project. 100 Sands Limited will continue to pay a fine of 100,000 US dollars every month until the project is completed. This penalty clause was part of the agreement under which they were issued the exclusive license. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
A Chinese national was remanded in custody by the Nandi Magistrates Court today after he was detained at Nandi Airport for failing to declare foreign currency. Sinhua Kao was found with assorted foreign currency valued at over $23,000. Kao, who arrived into Fiji on Monday, was leaving for the Solomon Islands yesterday when he was caught by customs. His case has been adjourned to Friday, when an interpreter is likely to be made available. He is the third Chinese national in less than 2 weeks to be charged for trying to smuggle currency through our borders. Only yesterday, 2 Chinese nationals were ordered to pay hefty fines for similar offences. As the nation looks to celebrate Independence Day tomorrow, Lautoka City came alive today as they celebrated Fiji Day with a march through the city. Joined by private and public sectors, NGOs and schools, hundreds took to the streets with a sea of blue flags, kalavatas and banners showing their pride and joy as Fiji turns 43 years old. Akosita Tale has more.
This looked just like Fiji 43 years ago, when the nation cheered and celebrated the raising of the national flag and the national anthem sung for the first time. This signified the birth of an independent nation.
We are now 43 years old as an independent nation. And just like any growing child, we stumble every now and then as we learn to stand on our own feet and walk.
Today's celebration marked our coming of age as a nation, to remember and thank those that have helped shape the nation that we are today.
We are now wise enough to understand that our differences, be it racial, religious, or otherwise, is not a barrier, but a blessing that we should embrace.
While Fiji Day commemorates our independence, to others it means a whole lot more.
Fiji Day to me is not just the place or the people, it's everything about this place. It's home, it's where everybody gets together, and it's not family, it's also your neighbors.
Celebrating Fiji Day shows that how I love my country and respect my country, and tomorrow we'll be celebrating it. We'll be doing a cleanup campaign around Lutoka.
Fiji celebrates her independence with a public holiday tomorrow. Aku si Tatale, FBC News.
Final preparations are ongoing at Suva's Albert Park for celebration of Fiji's 43rd year of independence tomorrow. Today, naval and military officers were perfecting their parade for the occasion. Stalls have been erected and there are also rides for the children. President Ratu Epeli Nailatikau will be the chief guest and will review the parade, followed by a march past. He will address the nation after the 21-gun salute. Prime Minister Commodore Vorenke Bainimarama is also expected to attend the celebration, along with other ministers and members of the diplomatic community. Meanwhile, the old capital, Levuka, is celebrating their first Fiji Day as a World Heritage Site in style. The Minister for Women, Dr. Chico Luveni, will be the chief guest of the celebrations there. The Land Transport Authority and the Police Traffic Department today attempted to tighten up the weak links in their joint operations. Talks on the issue were ahead of the joint operation for the Fiji Day celebrations tomorrow and the inter-district soccer tournament in Lautoka over the weekend. Mika Longa reports.
A handshake and smiles before the two heads go behind closed doors where serious discussions took place.
We are meeting the Land Transport Authority today. We will ensure that we brief our operations.
We now are putting our brains together. We are putting all our plans together. We want to become more and more effective.
The meeting, which lasted for almost 2 hours, focused on how they can strengthen the weak links that cropped up from their past operations.
We just need a better control. You see that people on the ground, they will be listening to commands and the instructions that is coming. So that is why we do fully understand when we are in this kind of joint operation mode, everything should be, linked. Everything should be controlled and be managed. We really don't want to be getting confused messages down to the people who are actually listening on the ground.
The police force's head of traffic is warning drivers to be aware of their presence this week.
We will be targeting on the key points or key strategic points where we know that a lot of drinking and driving will be taking place. That's one. Also, we'll be monitoring the highways and the major roads in terms of dangerous drivers, over-speeding drivers. And for that, we are trying to work with the Land Transport Authority in terms of how best we can conduct joint operations.
The LTA and the Police Traffic Department will be signing a joint operation agreement for the upcoming festive season. Mikalonga, FBC News.
It's a different way to celebrate Fiji Day. Fiji Broadcasting Corporation staff took time out today picking up rubbish along Suva's foreshore. The cleanup, which covered from the bowling club to Monikau, was part of our Fiji Day celebration to do something good for the community and the environment. Miss FBC and Miss Hibiscus 2013 Priscilla Reddy was also part of the cleanup.
I think that today is a great effort on behalf of FBC to clean up the foreshore. We've got most of the staff here taking out their time to just clean up. And it's quite a difficult task, as we've just realized, because there's just so much rubbish. And we get stuck in one place and we're like, oh my gosh, there's a whole foreshore to clean. There's just a lot to be done.
Coming up after the break, media outlets told of role during disasters.
Oh, kaya mo cuma tahu kami nganita mamu. Ngomong sana lah nganita mamu. Nimbula, ayaw Mr. Ben.
Lapa?
Na magikiro manolo kinedyo na mataka monisi kinafangarumbuka.
Nabula FM. Namadua and selling.
सूरज की पहली किरण के साथ दिन की शुरुआत कीजिए। सुबह का मंगल प्रभात आपको शुभ हो। सुबह सुबह हो खुशियों का मेला, ना लोगों की परवाह ना दुनिया का झमेला। पंछियों का संगीत हो और मौसम अलबेला। मुबारक हो आपको ये खूबसूरत सवेरा। हर सोमवार से लेकर शुक्रवार तक सुबह 6 से लेकर 9 बजे तक शामिल रहें रेडियो फिजी 2 पर हम सफर में रविंद्र सिंह के साथ।
Welcome back. You're watching FBC News. What should the media do before and after a disaster? This was part of the discussion this morning by the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction in Suva with various media outlets. As Chanel Sivan reports, it's the pre- and post-disaster management which the media needs to emphasize.
The United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction has been conducting training programs for the media around the world. This time, it is Fiji. Bridget Leone, one of the facilitators, says journalists need to understand first on how to minimize disaster risk before they disseminate the information to the public.
It's quite a complex actually issue, and journalists sometimes don't understand what it is. So what we're trying to do is just to bring them some tools to cover disaster from a different angles, because usually the reporters are really good at covering disasters when they happen, but they're a bit more less enthusiastic actually when they have to cover the disaster before or after they happen.
Journalists need to prepare their community before a disaster occurs.
ISDR has been doing training with journalists around the world, teaching them about what disaster risk reduction is, and also helping them understand what the concepts are so that they can ask the right questions. So when they actually talk to the government and they talk to project managers and UN agencies, they can actually ask the right questions to find out more about disaster risk reduction and help inform the community about what's going on.
There's a lot of things we as journalists can do in times of disasters, like floods, tsunami and cyclone. The training today reminded journalists that they actually play a vital role in minimizing the risk factors. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
The Labour Ministry is urging the public to seek clarification before using the services of foreign employment agencies. As Shireen Lanta finds out, 2 agencies are currently being investigated for not complying with labour laws.
It's prudent for people to liaise with the Ministry of Labour if they are promised jobs offshore by any recruitment agency. Recently, an agency failed to bring back a person who went for work overseas.
One of these agencies sent somebody to Kuwait or somewhere, and it was the government had to spend almost $100,000 to get that person back.
The particular agency has been taken to the Employment Relations Tribunal, and Usamate says they have found complications with one other recruitment agency. The ministry is now working with police and the Immigration Department to investigate complaints raised by the public.
We will work with them, initially try to get them to comply with the requirements, to make sure that they are screened, to make sure that everything is in order. If they continue to operate and they do not wish to comply with the requirements of the legislation, then they will be prosecuted, they will be taken to task.
The minister says welfare of the Fijians is important and they want to see that things are done right.
At the end of the day, the interest of the Ministry of Labour is to make sure that our people who go to these employment agencies, they are not exploited and that they are protected. It is always their well-being. That's the most important thing for my ministry.
Usamate says the public can expect more job opportunities in the Melanesian countries in coming days, and people have been urged to demand authorization certificate from the agency. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
Laws introduced in May to protect children from dangerous work environments are proving effective, at least in the sugar industry. In the past, the Labour Ministry found children who were exposed to hazardous work, but this is now being contained. Ritika Pratap reports some of these children have also gone back to school.
A lot of children used to harvest sugarcane, work that's considered hazardous. Since the government implemented the order, called the hazardous occupation prohibited to children under 18. Things have changed.
Not using children in terms of cane cutting and using chemicals in the cane field with children. And in that, what we have done is we have created awareness in Lautoka and Lambasa with the farmers, and our officers are right on the ground conducting surveys and awareness to the farmers.
We have carried out these awareness programs with the farmers, and the farmers are quite aware of these issues of child labor.
The Sugarcane Growers Council has been monitoring cane farms, and Sundaresh Chetty says farmers need to abide by the employment order. Most sugarcane farmers are certified under the Fair Trade Regulation, which also has strict rules against employing children.
Under the Fair Trade Regulations also, the child labor is not accepted. So yes, farmers are very much aware of it because farmers are getting a lot of benefit through fair trade premiums.
Children below the age of 18 need parental consent and can only work 8 hours a day and only during school holidays.
After school, they can be engaged into some light work, but not into specific, for example, in terms of the using of chemical fertilizers, cutting of cane and loading of cane. All these are prohibited under the hazardous workplace list.
Other illegal work includes scrap metal collecting, bottle collecting, chemical spraying in commercial vegetable farms, deep sea diving and electrical work. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Sports is up next, and Elena, I understand it's been a dramatic day for local football today.
That's right, Jackie. A new Southern Vice President has been elected, but he's no stranger to football. Plus, our Fiji Bati reps pay visits around Suva. That and more after the break.
नमस्ते दोस्तों, मिर्ची रफ्तार से मैं अश्निल सिंह। शामिल हो जाइए हमारे साथ मंडे टू फ्राइडे फ्रॉम 3 to 7 PM।
Nimbula, methango nimilote na isorotumboa. Nama kia umina rua kina ona na veka vi moniti kina wakarambuka. Rongo mena via sana kina viva ko barota kinin reko malolo. Ena radio Fiji 1 na wongani pia niano. Ngai nama kia kina.
Welcome back. You're watching FBC Sports. It was a day of high drama, but in the end, the Fiji Football Association has a newly elected vice president. Former District Administrator Jainendra Suku won the Southern Division vice presidential elections during the annual Congress in Lautoka today. However, as Indra Singh reports, 2 other candidates didn't have it their way.
This is the man who will work with the Fiji Football Association to try and take the sport forward.
Here alone I won't be able to do everything. I have to work with the current set of officials, and we have to work in favor of districts.
The former Suva and Nandranga administrator, who has also worked as the Fiji FA National League Board Secretary, will now have to be a decision maker for the sport. He says this will in no way be a hindrance for him, as he knows who needs his services the most.
Since I have got experience in football and I have served districts, and I think I would like to thank the districts for supporting me. They know any district is to call me, whatever time they is to call me, I is to assist them.
Fiji FA President Rajesh Patel, while welcoming the newest member of his team, says they will have to work together.
All we expect is their rules and regulations of Fiji FA and everything. They have to follow the steps of it, and as we have got a very united board and everything, we expect him to play his role as what he needs to be done on the board.
Suku will join Jitendra Kumar and Girja Prasad, who were also elected today after their opponents were dealt a technical blow. Iqbal Khan and Hussain Saib were left waiting and wondering after their nomination was declared null and void.
NABU had nominated twice for Iqbal Khan and JK, and they had nominated also for Girja Prasad and Hussain Saib.
Overall, Fiji FA was happy with the outcome of the annual Congress, which they say showed unity within districts. Now it's time for Sukku to blend in his new ideas with his new compatriots. Indra Singh, FBC Sports.
Meanwhile, the Fiji Football Association recorded a loss of just over $30,000 last year. This was an improvement from the $300,000 loss recorded in 2011, which the Fiji FA says could have been avoided.
Losses we had last year compared to this year, if that FAP funds would have come, it would have been a profit. It's a big turnaround. We have tightened our belts in a lot of areas and everything, but making sure the development still continues, and that's what we're looking for.
Meanwhile, the Tailevu North Football Association will now be known as the Northland Tailevu Football Association. This was passed at the Congress. The Courts Inter-District Championship got underway at Churchill Park in Lautoka this afternoon. In the first of the Premier Games, defending champions Tailevu Naitasiri and Nandongo played out a 0-0 draw. Both teams couldn't break the deadlock after 60 minutes of play and will have to better their game from tomorrow.
These boys are very young. It take a lot of time for them to learn how to play football, but I'm pleased that they have come up to play in this IDC. Most of them, this is their first IDC for the year. Most of them are 17 years old, 18 years old, so I'm building them for the next round of season for football, and I hope that this tournament they'll build up well and play according to the plan as defending champion as we want to.
It was a good game playing against the last year's IDC champion. For me, looking at the game, as a coach, it's very nice, good. My player played a good game.
In other results, Rakiraki defeated Mbua 1-0, while Njoketi beat Tavua 2-1. A full day after their arrival, the Digicel Fiji Sevens cannot wait to take on Canada in their first pool game of the Gold Coast Sevens in Australia. The side has settled in well and have until Saturday to get their set pieces right. And with new coach Ben Ryan now on the scene for Fiji, the team is confident.
We're pretty privileged to have Ben Ryan. He's been coaching England for 6 years, and to have a coach like that with that experience in the series is a major boost for Fiji team, and he's just trying to help us blend well to play the Fijian style. We always say that at Fiji, when we come to a tournament, it's always our goal to win the tournament, and with the boys and the coach set in, I think that we can still do it.
After Canada, Fiji's other pool matches is against Portugal and Wales. The Vodafone Fiji Bati side presented their itatau today as they prepare for the Rugby League World Cup in England in 2 weeks' time. The side, which is believed to be the best we've ever had, is wrapping up their one-week camp in Pacific Harbour, and for some, it's been a good opportunity to get closer to their Fijian links. Chalendau Dakadaka reports.
Today for the Vodafone Fiji Bati team, it was a break from training and another chance to get traditional again. This time with the star-studded outfit presenting the itatau in Suva. And for one particular player, this week alone has brought him a little closer to home.
The other day, other boys went root cropping, and then the other boys had the lovo. So I was on the fishing. I was on the fishing part, and I had a blast. We were jumping around, catching fish in the net, and then we all had a big feed after. So it was really good to do that, especially going back to our roots, and that's what the day was for. Was just going back to our roots and making sure that we knew where we come from, and we respect that.
Fiji is pooled with Ireland, Australia, and the hosts England. It's not the easiest of pools, but one this team has a fair idea on how to counter.
It'll be a huge test for the team. We find ourselves in a very tough pool, but in saying that, I guess for the team, their preparation will be focused on what we do as a team.
This is the best Fiji Bati outfit ever formed, whose opponents know they have to worry about once they leave for England on Monday. Tsalendo Dakadak, FBC Sports.
That was your FBC Sports for tonight. It's back to Jackie for business.
The International Monetary Fund has trimmed its forecast for global economic growth. It now expects global growth of 2.9% this year, a cut of 0.3% from July's estimate. In 2014, it expects global growth of 3.6%, down 0.2%. It cited weakness in emerging economies for the cut. The IMF expects the U.S. to drive global growth, but it warns that the political standoff over raising the U.S. government's borrowing limit, if it results in the U.S. defaulting on its debt payments, could seriously damage the global economy. It expects growth of 1.6% in the U.S. this year and 2.6% next year, down 0.1% and 0.2% from its July forecast. After some clear skies in the west this morning, cloud and showers covered the country by this afternoon. It was warm everywhere, with Lautoka and Ba hitting 32. Savu was the coolest spot at 27. The outlook for tomorrow, Fiji Day, might dampen the celebrations. We're expecting cloud and showers across the nation during the day. The further outlook calls for more of the same as we move into the weekend. In our headlines again, casino developers pay fine and want to renegotiate the penalty clause of their license with government. Another Chinese national detained for not declaring foreign currency. And Lautoka celebrates Fiji Day with preparations underway in Suva. Now on to the poll question, and we're asking, will live EPL games on FBCTV help develop local soccer? To take part, you can visit our website. Remember to send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj. That's FBC News for tonight. See you again tomorrow.
जहाँ हो प्यार का बसेरा और रिश्तों की खुशबू, वो है आपका अपना घर संसार. Join me on घर संसार, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. only on Radio Fiji 2.
Bola, oya wasala bilawa. Do pata kia o mena viwa kina tini karona kaloko na single level ni moniti kina vagaromboka. Kako ni valata na no musini sari na kaisa moriando loloma lene vani ni nau om gori ke de mena viwa kina tini karona kaloko na single level ni moniti kina vagaromboka na Bula FM number 2 en sere.